Welcome back, everyone. Banditry, a menace which dates back to the early 2000s, began as a gathering of a few armed groups targeting rural communities for ransom, but over the years has expanded to become a hydra-headed monster. Today, banditry crisis involves an estimated 30,000 bandits organized into groups ranging from small units of 10 to large forces exceeding 1,000 fighters, namely kidnapping, causing killings, sexual violence, cattle theft, illegal arms possession, and more. But the question over the years has been, how did we as a nation get here? Is there also a way out, and how best can we end this menace? For this, let's get the perspectives of Dr. Abdullahi Shinkafi, former Vice Chairman, Committee for Finding the Root Causes of Banditry and Solution in Zamfara State. Good evening, Doctor. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight, and welcome to the program.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Right. So, let's start this way. And I'd like you to help us paint a picture of the security situation in the northern part of the country. What is the origin of banditry in northern Nigeria? And I want us to start off this way because of the different versions of how these violent attacks began and escalated in northern Nigeria. As the former Vice Chairman of the Committee for Finding the Root Causes of Banditry, what are your findings? Tell us what you have found out.
You see, first and foremost, the literal meaning of banditry is a group of organized outlaws, either an individual or groups of persons. And these outlaws, that is what, if it is the group of outlaws, those who commit massacre, murder, destruction of properties, rapes, kidnapping for ransom, cattle rustling, are simply called bandits. So this banditry has different types. There is rural banditry, there is herders and farmers induced banditry, there is ethno and religious induced banditry, there is political induced banditry. But what is happening precisely in Nigeria, in the northern Nigeria, is a rural banditry. That is kidnapping for ransom, displacement of innocent people from their ancestral home, imposition of taxes, extortion, killings, and many crimes by these outlaws called bandits. And these bandits has different groups, and each group in the most especially the hotbed and the epicenter of banditry is in the northwestern region of Nigeria, which comprises of the 7 states: Kano, Kaduna, Zamfara, Kebbi State, Sokoto, Katsina State, and Zamfara State. And this state and Jigawa State, this northwestern state, 5 states are mostly affected by this armed bandit. That is Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, Sokoto, and Kebbi State. Banditry in Jigawa State and in Kano State is very, very minimal, and also escalated to North Central, most especially in the Niger State, where they have ISWAP and Boko Haram terrorists and bandits. So this group of armed bandits are estimated, they have batters, more than 30,000 cut across the northern state. Even in the northeast, where they have Boko Haram terrorists, ISWAP, ISIS, and also these armed bandits also, who are involved in cattle rustling, kidnapping for ransom, bloodshedding, bloodletting, extortion. So the root cause of this armed banditry mostly is bad governance, poverty, unemployment, proliferation of smaller and latter arms, weapons, porous border, corrupt judicial system, weak security apparatus, weak bad infrastructure. These are some of the root cause of this banditry, and these are our findings during our committee for finding lasting solution to banditry. So we itemize these root causes and also make some recommendation to the government.
All right, Dr. Shinkafi, before we get to the root causes and take these causes one after another, if I get you correctly, are you confirming that these attacks are more economic than ethnic or religious?
This attack is economic driving because they are kidnapping for ransom. So it's economic, it's a criminal economic enterprise which has a lot of value chain. People who are selling motorcycles are part of this organized crime. Quack doctors, quack unpatriotic security agencies, corrupt traditional rulers, and food vendors, drug suppliers. It has a lot of value chain. So they have turned it to an economic driving criminal enterprise. So it's not mostly just only cattle rustling. Because you hear a bundle will be negotiating 1 billion naira, 200 million, 500 million. And this money are taken in cash into their hideout. So it is economic driving criminal enterprise. Even the cattle they rustle, they also sell it outside the northwestern state, to the western, to the eastern part of the country, or to the western part of the country. The cattle they rustle in the rural area, in the rural community, they transport it to the western part of the country, or eastern part of Jah.
All right. So, Doctor, you've identified some root causes of banditry in northern Nigeria. You've talked about bad governance. You mentioned poverty, cross-border, corrupt judicial system, bad infrastructure, and illicit arms. But we've also seen reports of northern stakeholders alleging that banditry now business venture for government officials and security agents. Is this statement a fact or a myth?
During our findings, there are some security agencies and traditional rulers, including politicians, who were indicted for aiding and abetting banditry in Zamfara State. And we have submitted our report, we have submitted our findings. And in our report, we have recommended some penalties, punishments to some traditional rulers. During the period, the period of Bello Motole as a governor of Zamfara State, some traditional rulers were dethroned. The emir of Zulmi was dethroned, emir of Mor was dethroned, emir of Ansar was dethroned, and other district heads and other village heads. And some also community leaders, and including politicians. And we have invited some. Militaries and police who are involved in aiding and abetting banditry in Zamfara State, and they have appeared. Some of them appeared before our panel, and the chairman of our panel is MD Abubakar Gusso, the former Inspector General of Police.
All right, Doctor, why has it been so hard to name and shame these saboteurs? And also, we've seen several arrests, but prosecution has always been a challenge.
You see, I have mentioned some of the root causes of the banditry is with judicial system. There is need for these state governors, most especially in the northwestern state, to enact a law for death penalty for kidnappers and related offenses. We have enough laws, but the expeditious execution of these criminals have now made them to feel like there is no government. And they are operating like government within government. Because ongoing rural areas, these bandit command authorities. So there should be all hands must be on deck. On the part of the federal government and on the part of the state government and local government. You see how this issue can be fought drastically. There is need for total overhaul of the judicial system to also prosecute these armed bandits, these criminal outlaws, as enshrined in the law of the land. So some securities agencies, during the course of investigation, are sabotaging the prosecution. Sometimes they will write a useless charges against these criminals. And when you go to the court, if the commissioner of police or the state cannot prove the case beyond reasonable doubt, at the level of DPP, that is the Department for Public Prosecution, they will give a legal opinion, and that case will be thrown out of court. So some of these bandits have people who they give money to go and induce judges and also security agencies in the course of investigation. And before
Thank you for going there, Doctor, because, you know, in recent times, governors and security agencies have been playing the blame game. I mean, recent one is for a governor who, Governor Lawa, attributed the state's security problems to the federal government and security agencies. And, you know, he outrightly said the military and the police are nowhere to be found whenever they are needed in this fight against terrorists in the state, invariably saying there is a laid-back attitude of the police and the military, especially when it comes to response time. But what exactly do you think is the situation with that?
No. His Excellency would do apology is too economical with truth in that aspect. The security agencies in Zamfara State are overwhelmed, overburdened, and overstretched. They are not well equipped. They are underappreciated, under-motivated, both by the federal government and the state government. You see, a security agency will be deployed to a horrible terrain, which is not motorable. And both the governor and the local government in that area cannot support them with the mobility, with transport, even to buy oil, even to pay them their monthly allowances, which is not up to 50,000. It will be difficult for both the state government and the federal government to pay their duty allowances. You understand? So there is need for the federal government to deploy more security personnel in Zamfara State to curtail this fight against armed bandit and the criminal element in the state. So the governor has to support them. The previous administration bought vehicles to all the security agencies in the state. And since the beginning of the banditry in 2011, because it's for the past 1 decade, banditry is in existence. But the most worrisome and heartbreaking and disheartening, Zamfara State is the epicenter and the safe haven for armed bandits in the northwest. Because Zamfara State share boundary with Katsina State, Sokoto State, Kebbi State, Niger State. So when this bandit commit some atrocities, they will now go back to Zamfara as a safe haven. When the students of Kariga in Kaduna State were kidnapped, they were traced far back at Ansado Forest, in Kwembana Forest in Zamfara State. So government had to sit up at all levels to fight this armed bandits squarely, because the level of escalation of banditry has now jumped beyond northwest to north central to Northeast in Taraba State. You see what happened last week. A very important and famous traditional ruler, Sarkin Gobir of Sabon Birni. The Gobir kingdom has history for over 700 years before even the Sokoto Caliphate. But the historic chief was adopted for the first 3 weeks he was in captivity and killed after payment of 60 million ransom with 5 motorcycles. It's very unfortunate. Even right now, as I'm talking to you, in Zamfara State, the same district head in Zurmi local government, another district head in Zoma is in captivity. In Taraba, another one famous emir is in captivity. We cannot continue like this.
Very, very sad situation there. But what kind of message is that latest killing sending to northern governors and stakeholders?
This is a clear, let me tell you, this is a clear signal to the northern governors that they have failed woefully to also fulfill their campaign promises. Most of these governors who campaigned in 2023, they have campaigned that they are going to provide security of lives and properties. But now, for the first 15 months now, it has not changed the narratives. So what I'm saying in a nutshell, what even happened during the End Bad Governance protest, it is a slap to the northern governors. You see the out-of-school children littering on the street. In the southern counterpart, the protest was conducted peacefully. But in the northern Nigeria, it has turned to looting, killings, vandalization of government and private properties. So it is time for the northern governors to make sure that they declare state of emergency on education, poverty alleviation, agriculture, job creation. You understand? Because if you look at what is happening, the economic hardship now, the resources are limited and the human ones are unlimited. And these governors are not ready with all the abundant natural resources we have, that solid minerals, and also the palm land. Millions of hectares are uncultivated.
All right.
Due to the activities of bad governance and also the activities of these armed bandits. So the governors, it is a very shameful. Mr. President made a national broadcast that he gave 570 billion to state governors. Yet they cannot fight poverty. They cannot improve education. They cannot fix the roads. It's very shameful.
Very shameful. I agree with you.
Very horrible and heartbreaking.
Well,